I have here a chapter from my children's novel, which is nearly completed. It is called Three Boys in Two Houses. And the three boys are Hector, who's a fifth grader, Elijah is in third grade, and Cornell is a kindergartner. And the two houses are on Queen Anne Hill and Vashon Island. Some other information you might find useful is that Brownie is a teddy bear. Fred McDard is Elijah's secret identity that he's been using to harass Hector with. And Hector has recently figured out that Fred and Elijah are one and the same. The year is 1982, and Galaga is an arcade game that used to be popular and could often be found on Washington State ferries in the 1980s. This chapter is called Cornell's Birthday Morning. The next morning, Mom came in to wake everybody up. Cornell was already awake, celebrating his birthday with Brownie. As she came in, Cornell and Brownie were agreeing that 6 was a lucky number. "Happy birthday," Mom said. Then she yelled up at the top bunk, "Get up and get ready." It was 6:30. Cornell could read it on the clock. Both hands pointed at the lucky 6, and it was April 10th. Cornell knew that because Brownie and his mom had already wished him a happy birthday. Elijah jumped down and went into the bathroom without even looking at Cornell or saying anything to Mom. But that was okay. Elijah might wish him a happy birthday later, maybe on the ferry, maybe on the beach, or maybe during cake with Dad. Cornell followed Mom down to Hector's room in his too big, hand-me-down blue pajamas. The arms went all the way to his fingers and the legs went all the way to his toes, but they were soft and made softer with use, so he didn't mind. Hector was awake and reading his prized copy of Treasure Island. "Happy birthday, Cornell," he said. He put his book on its pedestal and got out from under the covers. Cornell admires Hector's Star Wars action figures, but knew he was not to touch them. Hector made sure of it as he put his bathrobe on over his Luke Skywalker underoos. "You can look, but don't touch," Hector said. "I know," said Cornell, "but not even for my birthday, though?" "No." He wanted to touch them so bad. They were toys, after all. But he knew better, so he followed Hector out of the room, up the stairs, and toward the bathroom before taking a hard left back into his room. He heard the shower come on. Elijah must have been in the attic because he wasn't anywhere else, and Cornell could hear soft footsteps above him. Mom was in her bedroom applying some lipstick. "Did you check the mail?" Cornell asked. "The mail doesn't come this early on Saturdays," she said. "Do you think Fred McDard will send me a birthday card?" Mom paused, her lipstick hovering over her lips. "I don't know." "He knows when my birthday is, whoever he is." "Well, maybe then. I'll check later and save it for you if it comes." Half an hour later, they were all in the Toyota. "Why can't you drive us to the ferry?" Cornell asked. Elijah mouthed the question in a mocking way. Hector punched Elijah in the leg for it. "I'm too busy today," Mom said. "If I drive you all the way, I won't get home until 9. This way I can be home by 8 and get plenty of work done while it's still early in the east." "What difference does an hour make?" Cornell asked. Elijah mocked him again and got punched by Hector again. Darrell greeted the boys the same as he had on other Saturday mornings. He said hello to Mom and assured her he would get the boys to the island. Darrell drove the 118 and had a big laugh. Elijah said, "I'm collecting transfers and waiting for the pink L to come back around so I can use it again." "Oh, you're on to us, kid." He laughed and turned to Mom. "Watch out for this one. He's got it all figured out." "They're always up to something," she said. She paid Darrell for each of her boys, 55 cents apiece, and then she was gone. Hector grabbed the back corner seat. Elijah claimed the other. Cornell sat in the middle. If Darrell broke hard enough, he would fly down the aisle, so he prepared himself to duck and roll to protect his head. Darrell guided the bus onto 7th Avenue. Cornell looked to see if Jeremiah were outside, but all he could see was some guy walking up Blanchard Street with his dog. As the bus went through downtown, it slowly filled. Cornell moved to sit closer to Hector to make room for all the new passengers, and Elijah gave up his corner seat to a lady with a baby and moved to the front, where he held onto a pole and talked to Darrell for the rest of the ride. "Why doesn't Elijah want to sit with us?" Cornell asked. Don't care," said Hector. "You'll have to ask him." The bus got on the ferry and everybody went upstairs. Elijah was first, and by the time Hector and Cornell got off, he was nowhere to be found. So the two brothers went up to play Galaga. "Can I play?" asked Cornell. "Watch and learn," said Hector. "Where's Elijah?" Cornell asked. "He never misses a chance to play." "Don't care. If you want to find him, go ahead." Hector got the double ship and made it to level 3 before getting exploded for the third and final time. Elijah can get all the way to level 5. Hector slapped the machine and checked his pocket for more quarters. He found one, but they were out of time. The ferry was pulling up to Vashon. "Can I have a quarter?" Cornell asked. "Nope." Hector poked him in the ribs. "We got to get back to the bus." Some birthday this was turning out to be. Elijah still hadn't wished him a happy birthday. Maybe he would at the beach. Maybe it would be over cake. Had he forgotten? That wasn't possible when his own birthday was just a lucky 6 days away. "Where's your brother?" Darrell asked. "Haven't seen him," said Hector. "He wasn't with you?" Darrell asked. "Nope." Somebody had taken Hector's back seat, so he settled for a 2-seater in the middle of the bus. Cornell climbed up next to him. The ferry docked, and Hector saw Darrell ushering Elijah toward the bus. Elijah said something, and Darrell laughed that big laugh of his. "You gotta do what you gotta do, kid." It was all Hector caught of the conversation before Elijah caught his eye, sneered at him, and sat down in the front seat. What had Elijah said that made Darrell laugh so big? It was probably something stupid, and Darrell was only pretending. Elijah had managed to escape his retribution on the ferry, so Hector knew it had to be at the beach, or maybe at the backyard of the beach house. Hector would show Elijah who Fred McDard was. They got off the bus at the Ellisport stop, like Dad had told them to. Dad had also said all they had to do to find the house was walk down the hill until they got to the water and then take a left up the hill. Follow that road until they saw the beach house, and he'd be home from work before they knew it. Hector was placed in charge of the directions, and he had them written on a slip of paper, and he had it tucked in his back pocket. Hector's pocket was empty. "Uh-oh," he said. "Did I throw the directions out with my transfer?" "The directions weren't hard," Elijah said. "We walked down the hill and turned left at the beach." "I thought it was a right at the beach," said Hector. "That would take us to the candy store, not the beach house," said Elijah. "I want to go to the candy store," said Cornell. "We could stock up on candy for my birthday." "You don't have any money," said Hector. "You could get me some candy for my birthday," Cornell said. "No," said Hector. "Besides, Elijah said it's the wrong way. Elijah said it's the right way to the candy store. Dad's not even going to be home. We might as well get some sugar daddies." "He has a point," Elijah said. "I'm not going to be responsible for making us late," Hector said. "Maybe you should go on up the hill to the house then, and me and Cornell can go to the candy store. Don't you care about his birthday?" It was the closest Elijah had come to wishing Cornell a happy birthday. Would he get any closer? Thank you so much.